Hey everyone, Coury here. Thought it'd be fun to kind of just show you a little challenge that I've been dealing with this week in terms of something that I'm adding to my setup, just for the heck of it. Recently, I decided that I was going to jump into the arcade game scene and get myself a Supergun. I was recently able to sell a couple of games of mine for a little bit more than I was expecting, so I went ahead and bought a more expensive Supergun. Maybe spent a little bit too much on it, but it's cool. It's cool. But anyways, I kind of waited for a little while for it to be made, and then once it arrived, I was excited to hook up my first arcade board that I got, which, if it's not obvious enough, over my shoulder back there is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. It's one of my favorite arcade games of all time. I spent a lot of time on it, and local arcade owner, Jesse from Arcade Legacy in Cincinnati, Ohio, had an extra board and he sold it to me. So when my Supergun arrived, I was really excited to hook this up and start playing it. Anyways, things didn't quite go exactly the way that I was expecting. I kind of found out firsthand just how challenging and how sometimes out of spec arcade boards can be compared to like consoles. When I hooked it up, I was getting a kind of a messy picture. The picture was very noisy, but this is kind of a lesson for myself because when I first ordered my Supergun, I didn't know how far away I was going to be placing it from my setup, so I kind of got a longer cable, and the picture was just like pretty crappy. And that's because it was an unshielded cable, and it was usually the cable makers recommend like about 6 feet as like the max. And I think I went like 9 feet with this, and it introduced a whole like bunch of noise in the picture. And it looks, it's kind of what you get when you have a long cable and it's unshielded. So I'm going to be reordering another one that has like the extra shielding. It's going to be a lot more expensive, but I think it's going to solve all my issues. But most disconcerting was the fact that on my PVMs, the games looked really, really bad. I was having a kind of weird bend on my PVM 20L5 that I didn't know was coming from. It looked like a sync error, and also like this weird kind of color banding, and I thought it was just, I thought it was a problem with the Supergun. And I didn't want to, this thing's kind of massive, and I didn't really want to send it back. So I've been running all kinds of tests these last couple of days to kind of narrow down what it is. And it's doing it over all video, like it's doing it over S-video, the S-video output is doing over components and RGB. I tried a whole bunch of different things, like a sync cleaner that I'm borrowing from Bob from Retro RGB. So through a whole bunch of trial and error, I kind of came to the realization that it could be the board. But I wasn't sure, and before I kind of went back to the person who made the Supergun, I needed to kind of test. I wanted to test another board, but I didn't have one. So I was lucky enough to borrow this Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo from a local arcade owner, actually the same guy who I bought the arcade board from. Man, I just love how CPS2 boards look. They come in this cool, like, shell, and it's almost like a cartridge. It kind of comes off. Anyways, I plugged it in, and it had the noise, but no sync issues at all. So it very well could be the board. I should note that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles board looks fine over the FrameMeister, except for the noise. But I really want to play it on a PVM for that like authentic look. And so I'm going to be doing some other tests to see if I'm going to try the board in another setup. Our good friend Artemio Urbina did a test with his board, didn't have any issues. So it very well could be, my Ninja Turtles board, which kind of sucks, but I'd rather have to deal with fixing that than I would have to deal with sending the Supergun back and dealing with that whole other thing. As you can see, the tests that I have done for different aspects of the show, it's really helped me out in kind of figuring out, kind of isolating my problem. I've been able to, based on the equipment that I have, to kind of narrow things down. Whether or not it's something that I'm going to be able to fix permanently remains to be seen, but as long as the Supergun is fine, I'm willing to deal with the curving issue on a PBM on the with Ninja Turtles, but if it comes down to like the dimming issues and stuff on it, it's gonna be a disappointment. But you know, I just wanted to kind of give you a look at just like what I spend a lot of my time doing. Sometimes I feel like I do a lot more fiddling with stuff than actually playing games. I don't know if anybody out there can really relate to that, but who knows? Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.